Chu Sheng didn't even know how he lost. Really only saw a burst of red light, followed by severe pain. In the next second, he had been teleported outside the Emperor's arena. Although he didn't know what to do, he knew that Renwang network would not be wrong. I have lost, and I have lost extremely thoroughly. His head hurt a little, and he felt the pain from his soul. Renwang network is extremely realistic, and even the pain of the soul can be simulated vividly. It turned out to be a soul attack. What is the origin of this kid? There are not many people who can attack souls. It's a bit interesting. Brat, you interrupted my winning streak. When I meet you in the future, let's see how I deal with you. Lin Moyu's attack methods aroused Chu Sheng's interest. Chu Sheng glanced at the Renwang arena, turned and left. The aura on his body was rising steadily, and soon he broke through the super god level and reached the true god level. The momentum was still rising, and it didn't stop until the god king level. Chu Sheng is a king of gods, as he said. He is not here to do tasks, but to abuse food. As a result, the abuse of food failed, and Lin Moyu rebelled against the abuse. This result made his teeth itch. Lin Moyu doesn't know the internal operation of the Emperor's arena, he just needs to know that the opponent he is facing is the third-order super god. The moment the game started, he raised his hand and used the time curse. Triple soul attack, plus a short-term instant burst, can completely kill opponents at the same level in seconds. The mission has been completed. Please return the challenger to the mission center where you are, and deliver the mission. Lin Moyu's mind withdraws from Renwang's network and returns to the mission center. Hand in the task and get 100 points smoothly. Complete normal challenge tasks, points plus 100. After seeing the information prompt, Lin Moyu accepted another group arena task and challenged Ren Luo continuously. Continuous challenge tasks start with an opponent of the same level as your own, and each opponent will be stronger than the previous one. Every time you defeat an opponent, you can get every reward. Rewards can be accumulated until the end of the challenge and can be obtained at one time. Matching opponents, please wait a moment. This time, even the mission rewards were not explained. Lin Moyu guessed that this is a continuous challenge task, and the task rewards are constantly changing, depending on your own performance. Return to the mission room again, close the door, and wait for Rentu to start. A minute later, new task information appeared. The corresponding opponent has been matched, and the challenge will start in 5 minutes. Challengers are requested to find a suitable location, enter the Renwang network and send it to the Renwang arena. The prompt is exactly the same as before, except that the task information has changed. Lin Moyu almost thinks it is the same task. Enter the Renwang network and appear directly outside the live broadcast stage. Just now he completed the first challenge mission and did not leave. Entering the Renwang arena again, it was still an empty arena, and there was still no spectators in the surrounding stands. A super god level competition cannot attract other people's interest. The same is to spend points. Why not watch higher-end games and gain more points? Just when Lin Moyu looked back, a person suddenly appeared in the stands. It's him. Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback, but he didn't expect Ren Qiang to come to the stands. Ren Qiang waved to Lin Moyu. Obviously this guy came to watch his game specially. Between the arena and the stands, the sound cannot be transmitted. This prevents outside sounds from affecting the challenger's performance. Ren Qiang could only wave to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu knew what he meant and waved his fist to express his understanding. At the other end of the arena, with the light dancing, a person appeared in sight. This is a middle-aged man with a slightly thin body and does not look strong. Zhuangbai, the third level of super god. Like the previous Chu Sheng, they are all third-order super gods. But Lin Moyu feels that this person is stronger than Chu Sheng, and should have reached the peak of the third-order super god. It is only one step away from the fourth level of super god. Although the rules say that the level of the first challenger is the same as himself. But it is also the third level of super gods, and there are also strengths and weaknesses. The ones arranged in Human Emperor Arena are all the strongest ones in the same rank. Zhuangbai looked at Lin Moyu. You were so unlucky, you met me in the first match. Tell me, how do you want to die? I am in a good mood today, let you choose your own way of death. Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing. Chu Sheng seemed to be saying the same thing just now. Did the two have a deal? Zhuangbai frowned. What are you laughing at? Lin Moyu suppressed a smile. It's nothing, a man named Chu Sheng said the same thing just now. It turned out to be that big stupid Chu Sheng, so what did you choose? Zhuangbai knew Chu Sheng, so he didn't find it strange. Lin Moyu shook his head, Russian Baptist. Not chosen. If you didn't choose, this guy is very cruel. He must have tortured you before killing you. Lin Moyu shook his head, he has no chance, I will kill him. Ah. Zhuangbai was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. What did you say? Did you kill him? Did you kill Chu Sheng? Lin Moyu frowned, feeling that Zhuangbai seemed a little abnormal. Zhuangbai laughed for a long time, and finally couldn't help shouting, good kill. This guy usually brags a lot, saying that he wants to win 100 consecutive victories. As a result, he won only a dozen games in a row before being dismissed. Defeated. Lin Moyu, you did a great job. I think you can make friends with me. I'm from Suzaku star 10 to 1. If you have a chance to come over in the future, remember to come and find me. But today we should still fight. I will try not to torture you, let you die quickly. Lin Moyu ignored him, feeling that this person was abnormal, and he was too lazy to talk to him. At the end of the countdown, a long sword appeared in Zhuangbai's hand. Like a ghost, he turned into a streamer and rushed towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu tapped his finger lightly and merged the spell, Curse of Time. Red light enveloped the entire arena, three-dimensional coverage, the sky and the ground, there is nowhere to escape. De Nuohao, Zhuangbai rushed out from the streamer, fell to the ground, and then disappeared. Died so easily. He was still laughing a second ago, trying not to torture Lin Moyu as he spoke. In the next second, he was dead. Ren Qiang, as the only audience on the stage, was completely dumbfounded. He is someone who knows some inside information about the group arena, and he knows that Zhuangbai is definitely not an ordinary third-order super god. They didn't come to do the task like Lin Moyu, but suppressed their own level and kept it. The level of Zhuangbai itself must not only be the third level of the super god, it may be a true god, or even a god king. After they suppress the level, their strength will still surpass those of the same level. This is also the task of the ring battle. In fact, there are not many people who can pass the challenge. Without the ability to leapfrog challenges, it is basically impossible to pass. This is especially true for continuous challenge missions. As a result, Lin Moyu easily completed the first challenge and won without any suspense. For Lin Moyu, even if you are the pinnacle of the third level of Super God, even if you are the fourth level of Super God, it is a direct instant kill without any suspense. Fighting at the same level, Lin Moyu has never been afraid of anyone, basically all of them are instant kills. Even if it goes up 1 or 2 levels, it's the same. The first challenge was won. The second challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current cumulative reward, 100 points. Winning a game is 100 points, which is exactly the same as ordinary challenge tasks. So how many points can you get for winning the second game? The opponents in the second game will be stronger, and logically speaking, the points will be higher. Lin Moyu had some expectations in his heart. Might be able to make a fortune here today. Soon, a new opponent appeared in sight. Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback. Why is it still you? It was still Zhuangbai who came, and there was no change. The person has not changed, but the strength is different. This time Zhuangbai's strength has reached the 4th level of Super God. Zhuangbai sneered, why can't it be me? Just now I accidentally read your Tao, let's see how I abuse you this time. Lin Moyu sighed, okay. It can be predicted that this time Zhuangbai will still succeed. But Lin Moyu is also a little curious, the opponents that Human Emperor is looking for in the arena don't seem to be the ones who need to do the task. But thinking about it, if the people doing the task challenge each other, there must be someone who can only get 10 points. In that case, it would be contrary to the original intention. The purpose of Terran is to cultivate, not to compete within. Of course, competition is also needed, but not now. Now these people are only super gods, not even cannon fodder. The most important thing is to cultivate well first. At the end of the countdown, Zhuangbai burst out with brilliant light and rushed over again. The speed was faster than before, and the colorful light on his body turned into a suit of armor. Lin Moyu tapped twice. Fusion spell, Curse of Time. Stellar spell, Undead Gaze. Red light filled the air, and a huge eye of the dead appeared above the ring. Zhuangbai let out a muffled grunt, and was thrown out from the rapid dash. With a groan, he fell to the ground. Then a gust of cold wind blew, and the eyes of the undead were firmly fixed on him. Then his figure disappeared from the ring, and Huang Wangguang judged that he died again. Second challenge victory. The third challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current accumulated rewards, 3, ACBE, 0 points. Seeing the hint, Lin Moyu smiled slightly and added 200 points. The first game is 100, the second game is 200, and the home game is all 300 or 400. If it is 400, then the progress of the task will be much faster. There was joy in Lin Moyu's eyes. His ability to leapfrog challenges is not just 2 levels. If so, you can really make a lot of money today. Ren Qiang, as the only audience, was stunned again at this time, and murmured, "It's so relaxing." He knew early on that Lin Moyu had the ability to leapfrog challenges, and it was so easy to kill the black fly. But he never thought that Lin Moyu's strength would be so strong. This is a leapfrog challenge. Super God level 3 is fighting against level 4. The result is to stand there motionless, just click your finger casually, and it's done. He watched the whole process, and felt that Lin Moyu had become extremely mysterious. He forced himself to gather his mind and continued. After a while, the next opponent appeared again. Zhuangbai returned, exuding the aura of the 5th order Super God. This time, his strength has reached the 5th level of Super God. Lin Moyu looked at him. I should be right, he should have suppressed his strength. But even so, his manipulation of laws is far superior to his peers. If there is a battle between the same level, unless the challenger also has the ability to leapfrog the challenge, it will be difficult to defeat him. It's no wonder that he is so confident, saying what abusive dishes. Those who have just reached Super God, in his eyes, are indeed no different from rookies. It's a pity that you met me. Lin Moyu has analyzed the matter into 7s and 80s. Zhuangbai returned again, a little annoyed. Boy, I won't fail again this time, get ready to die. Lin Moyu sighed softly, we'll wait and see. The battle begins again. Zhuangbai let out a yell, and his whole body burst into brilliant light. It is similar to the colorful armor just now, but stronger than before. Zhuangbai shouted loudly, my 5-color armor has the sole defense ability from the 5th level of Super God, and your attack will no longer be useful. Lin Moyu remained silent, still pointing his finger. Della spell, Prison of Bones. 4-star spell linkage, Bone Spear, Bone Fangs, Bone Prison, Bone Armor. Lin Moyu controlled the spells, among which the Bone Armor was used on himself, and only the first 3 were used on Zhuangbai. A layer of white bones suddenly appeared on Zhuangbai's body. Using Lin Moyu's 3rd level Super God strength to use the Bone Prison, there is no problem in controlling Zhuangbai. Zhuangbai fell into a state of paralysis for an instant and remained motionless. Immediately afterwards, the skeleton fangs and the skeleton spear erupted at the same time. It hit him hard almost instantly. The white light exploded, the 5-color armor exploded, and the body was almost smashed to pieces. Ren Qiang saw with his own eyes that there were countless holes in Zhuangbai's body. The holes were large and small, and Zhuangbai became a hornet's nest for a while. Zhuangbai's eyes were wide open, and his body was traumatized, which made him feel severe pain. Renwang Network is not only a realistic picture, but also simulates all senses. The feeling in Renwang Network is the same as in reality. After one attack, Zhuangbai did not die. Brilliant and eye-catching rays of light erupted from his whole body again, his aura continued to soar, and large cracks appeared on the white bones on his body. Seeing that he was about to break free from the shackles of the Bone Prison. At this moment, Lin Moyu counted with his fingers again. The Bone Prison was instantly strengthened, and Zhuangbai's body was torn into pieces in the white light. Ren Qiang murmured, it's too strong, it's done without even moving. This was the case for 3 games in a row, and Lin Moyu didn't move his footsteps. Zhuangbai was killed just like that. But the 3rd game was better, at least there was still a little bit of resistance. Unlike the previous 2 games, they were directly killed in seconds. The 3rd challenge was won. The 4th challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current cumulative reward, 700 points. Seeing the mission prompt, Lin Moyu clenched his fist violently, with joy in his eyes. 400 points, great. Then the next game, will it become 800 points? If this continues, if I win 3 more games, I will be able to upgrade to the 3rd level authority. If Lin Moyu really thinks, the next game is 800 points, followed by 1600 and 3200 points. Counting the previous ones, a total of 6300 points can be obtained. Enough for him to raise his authority to level 3. With 3 levels of authority, the activity area is larger, and more tasks can be accepted. But according to this calculation, the 8th level of Super God is not easy to deal with. You won't know until you fight. Lin Moyu's eyes were full of fighting spirit. The intention of human sovereign arena is definitely not as simple as simply performing tasks. Lin Moyu comprehended the previous 3 battles. Although the opponents were easily killed by him in seconds, the arrogance of the opponents was clearly reflected. Although I don't know if this performance is deliberate, or it is true. At least he can feel it clearly. After all the previous experiences, Lin Moyu felt that the whole mission system was not that simple. Each item seems to have a deep meaning in it. The role of the arena allows challengers to clearly understand where their limits are and where the gap between them and their opponents lies. Even at the same level, I am not the strongest. At the same time, the opponent's high-ranking attitude and ruthless methods can all arouse the desire to compete. If he would be hit in the arena and would be devastated, this kind of person would not have the heart of a strong man, and he would not be needed by the human race. The strong must be more and more courageous, and have a belief that is difficult to support. Lin Moyu felt that he realized the intention of the Emperor's arena. A figure appeared again at the other end, and his opponent in a new round appeared. Not surprisingly, he was still an old acquaintance Zhuangbai. This time, Zhuangbai was no longer as crazy as before, the ferocity on his expression had receded, and he seemed to have calmed down. In this situation, Lin Moyu felt that the opponent became more difficult to deal with. Zhuangbai looked at Lin Moyu with sharp eyes. Boy Lin, you are very good. There are not many people who can win 3 games in a row. Lin Moyu bowed slightly to Zhuangbai. Senior, I've won the award, but this junior is still far behind. Zhuangbai waved his hand. I'm not complimenting you, I'm just telling the truth. Good is good, you don't have to be too modest. And in the big world, if you're talented enough, show it. The seniors in the clan, the most important thing is genius. Lin Moyu's heart trembled slightly. What Zhuangbai said was different from what Anteri said. Zhuangbai revealed a lot of information in these few words. These days, he personally felt that the human race seemed to spare no effort to cultivate geniuses. The more genius you are, the more you can attract the attention of high-level people. In other words, geniuses are protected if something does happen. The more talented you are, the more you have to show it. This sentence is not wrong. Lin Moyu sincerely saluted Zhuangbai. Thank you for your guidance, senior. Zhuangbai waved his hand. Next, I'm going to be serious. Lin Moyu nodded. Senior, even if you do something, you won't be polite if you are late. Thinking in my heart, Zhuangbai didn't seem to have let the water go before. No, it should be said that he had no chance to release water at all. He didn't even have a chance to do it, so he killed it instantly. This time his strength has recovered to the 6th level of Super God, so I don't know how serious he will be. The countdown ended, and a sword appeared again in the wall. It's still the same one from before, with 5 colors of brilliance, and the laws are rolling on the sword, which looks very powerful. This time, he didn't rush directly to Lin Moyu, but gave a light drink, and the 5-color brilliance burst out from his whole body, which merged with the radiance of the sharp sword in his hand. 5-color armor, Zhuangbai has already mentioned it before. His 5-color armor can not only protect himself, but also resist soul attacks. It's just that the defensive power displayed at the 5th level of Super God is far inferior to the destructive power displayed by Lin Moyu's technique. At that time, the 5-color armor was instantly shattered. Now Zhuangbai displayed the 5-color armor again with the strength of the 6th level Super God, which is indeed much stronger than before. Every time one level is raised, there will be a huge increase in strength. The 5-color armor showed strong laws, and the armor turned into a solid body. Zhuangbai's body, which was not considered strong, became majestic under the armor. Go! With a point of Zhuangbai's finger, the long sword in his hand shot out like lightning, heading straight for Lin Moyu. The speed is as fast as an instant. Before the sound came, the sharp sword had already appeared in front of him. Lin Moyu's pupils shrank slightly, and he didn't expect the other party's movements to be so fast. But it's too fast. Lin Moyu doesn't care about the Super God's 6th level attack. It can even be ignored. With the sharp sword approaching, Lin Moyu raised his hand and pointed his finger on the tip of the sword. Ding! A light sound came out, and the long sword stopped moving forward. Zhuangbai's face changed drastically. He never imagined that his inevitable sword would be blocked by a finger of Lin Moyu. Burst! With a loud shout, the long sword exploded, and the law roared, turning into a 5-colored dragon and devouring Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu ignored the 5-color Mad Dragon and let it swallow him completely. 0. Ask for flowers. The skeleton armor gleamed, and the linkage of 4-star spells was activated instantly. The Bone Prison, the Bone Fangs, and the Bone Spear lock the wall at the same time. When the Bone Prison is dealing with a single target, its effect will be greatly increased. Coupled with the addition of 4-star spells, even if Zhuangbai has reached the 6th level of Super Gods, he will still be affected. There is an extra layer of white on the 5-color armor, and white bones cover it. The 5-color armor creaked and fought against the skeleton prison. Lin Moyu calculated in his mind that the Bone Prison can trap Zhuangbi for at least 1 second. 1 second is enough to do a lot of things. Skeleton fangs and bone spears erupted one after another, white light burst out, and the wall turned into a big light bulb again. The fangs and spears, with unparalleled penetrating power, bombarded Zhuangbi's 5-color armor. The 5-color armor vibrated violently and made a clanging sound. It had withstood tens of thousands of blows in an instant, as if it was about to shatter at any moment. Zhuangbai's face changed drastically, and Lin Moyu was unscathed under his own law, the Mad Dragon. His own attack was ineffective, but Lin Moyu's attack surprised him. Where did the monster come from? Zhuangbai cursed in his heart, and the aura in his whole body increased again, reaching the peak of the 6th order super god in an instant. The 5-color armor, which was already crumbling, exploded, and the Bone Prison also exploded. The 5-color armor turned into 8 golden shields, firmly protecting Zhuangbi. Technique: Octagon Armor Shield. Zhuangbai said, "You are really good, you can force out my octagon armor shield. In front of my octagonal shield, all your attacks fall." Before he finished speaking, a white light flashed in front of him again. The Bone Prison, the Bone Fangs, and the Bone Spear erupted at the same time. "It's too much, people can't finish their words." Zhuangbai scolded. Lin Moyu waved his hand. "I didn't do anything." Lin Moyu really didn't do anything. This is a natural reaction produced by the linkage between spells and spells. Zhuangbi's attack has not stopped, the skeleton armor is constantly activated, and then under the linkage of spells, it continues to attack Zhuangbi. As long as Zhuangbai's attacks don't stop, the spell linkage will not stop, it will be an infinite loop. Zhuangbai was dumbfounded, and said in a daze, "Multi-star spell." Lin Moyu nodded, "Loss." Zhuangbai was a little depressed, ganking Lin Moyu didn't do anything at all. People just rely on multi-star spells to make themselves so embarrassed. This made Zhuangbai unacceptable. "I obviously used the strength of the 6th level super god, but in the end I couldn't beat a 3rd level super god." With a roar, the octagonal shield began to rotate rapidly, and the defense power increased again. The octagonal shield scattered the bones, and also scattered all the attacks. Zhuangbai cast his spell again, countless sharp swords emerged out of thin air, and fell towards Lin Moyu like raindrops. The sharp sword is transformed by the law, and its power is astonishing. Lin Moyu stood in the rain of swords, unmoved at all. The skeleton armor is still shining, driving the multi-star spell to attack continuously. His own attack was ineffective again. Zhuangbai was extremely depressed. "Can you do something else?" Lin Moyu originally wanted to see Zhuangbai's methods. After all, he played 087 too fast in the first 3 games. This game can slow down a little. But now it seems that Zhuangbai is still limited by his level, so it is obvious that he cannot display all his combat power. "As you wish." Lin Moyu pointed at the top of Tian Zhuangbi's head. A gust of wind blew past, and Zhuangbai couldn't help shivering. Suddenly the sky was overcast, and then the dragon's chant resounded. "It's so cold, where did the dragon chant come from?" Zhuangbai looked towards the sky with doubts, and was immediately startled. "Damn, where did the dragon come from?" Braving flames, the giant bone dragon descended from the sky surrounded by the law of immortality. A mouthful of off-white dragon's breath spewed out, instantly covering Zhuangbi. The octagonal shield creaked in the dragon's breath and would collapse at any time. Since Lin Moyu has already done it, he will not be polite. 4-star spell, Bone Prison. This time, it was not an automatic counterattack caused by the spell linkage, but Lin Moyu took the initiative to cast the spell and let it carry the law. The power is several times stronger than before. Amidst the white light, Zhuangbi's proud 8-direction shield suddenly shattered. The body was also instantly torn into pieces by the dragon's breath and the fangs and spears. The 4th challenge wins. The 5th challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current cumulative reward, 1500 points. Just when Lin Moyu won the fourth victory, many high-level people of the human race received the message at the same time. In Renwang Network, if someone wins 4 games in a row in the continuous challenge mission, it is enough to prove that it has the ability to leapfrog challenges. A person who can defeat a third-tier opponent who surpasses himself deserves to be a top-level genius. The upper echelons of the human race are thirsty for talents. Only a few seconds later, there were only Ren Qiang in the stands, but there were many more people. Each of them exudes a strong coercion, surrounded by laws, and has a terrifying aura. You can tell at a glance that he is a great person. A huge coercion swept the audience, and the atmosphere on the stage became extremely oppressive. Ren Qiang was taken aback. In front of these people, he felt like a small shrimp. Even breathing became very difficult. The whole person curled up, not daring to speak, and not daring to leave. The people who came looked at each other, nodded, and didn't communicate much with each other. They are all from the Vermilion Bird Starfield, they are high-ranking and powerful, and they all know each other, so they don't need too much politeness. Soon, another person appeared in the field. As soon as he appeared, everyone saluted him. See the domain owner. Quote, the owner of the Suzaku Star Field, Zhu Qian. He is the third child at home, and is called Zhu the third child by Luo Changkan. Zhu Qian nodded slightly, indicating that everyone should not be too polite. He looked sideways and saw Ren Zun, who was already trembling on the ground with fright. Coincidentally, Zhu Qian appeared next to Ren Qiang. Ren Qiang recognized Zhu Qian, the majestic master of the Vermilion Bird Starfield, the one and only existence in the Vermilion Bird Starfield. How could he not know him? But his identity was too far from Zhu Qian's. Just by taking a look at him, Ren Qiang was so frightened that he collapsed on the ground, shrinking into a shrimp. Others are already terrifying, but this one is even scarier. And it's still not dead, but it just happened to appear by my side. Ren Qiang regretted it thousands of times in his heart. He should have come to see it if he knew earlier. I really have a little back. Ren Qiang has been in a high position all year round, and his majesty is so heavy that no one can bear it. He glanced at Ren Qiang, and said in a deep voice, do you know him? Ren Qiang knew that Zhu Qian was referring to Lin Moyu, so he didn't dare to talk nonsense. I just met him not long ago. Zhu Qian nodded, go to the side and watch. Ren Qiang didn't dare to refute, so he stepped back and continued to shrink. Zhu Qian's eyes fell on Lin Moyu. As one of the people who knew Lin Moyu best, his eyes were full of appreciation. At this time, many people who came over were checking Lin Moyu's profile. They have very high authority. Normally, many information of Lin Moyu can see. But now, all they see is the name, and Lin Moyu's current authority. No other information can be seen at all. All of them looked weird. This kind of thing had never happened before. Zhu Qian secretly smiled. The person I like. If you still want to check the information, go ahead and dream. He knew that some of these people belonged to the Temple of War God. The Temple of War God wants to rob people from himself. How could he give these people a chance? He hid Lin Moyu's information, unless someone with the same authority as him or someone higher than him can view it. But looking at the human race, there are only a handful of people with the same authority and ability as him. Those who are taller than him are even rarer. The others seemed to think of something, and looked up to the sky one by one. The old god Zhu Qian was there, his eyes slightly squinted, and he didn't say a word. Lin Moyu saw these people who suddenly appeared on the stage and didn't care. Since there are stands, people will naturally come to see them, so there is nothing strange about it. He guessed that it was because the people he challenged were getting stronger and stronger, so he attracted the attention of others. In the arena, not only can't hear the sound, but also can't feel the coercion from the stands. The stands and the ring are like two worlds. Halfway through the countdown, Zhuangbai appeared on the ring again. Before he had time to release his new round of rhetoric, he saw the crowd in the stands. I was taken aback immediately. Wang Xingzhu, Zhang Xingzhu, Fang Dianju. He thought silently in his heart that these people are all great figures, at least they are also the star masters of a galaxy, and they are still high-level galaxies. His reaction was much better than Ren Qiang's, at least he didn't collapse on the ground from being frightened. Until he saw the domain master Zhu Qian, he almost jumped up in fright on the spot. Why even Lord Territory Lord is here? What kind of thing is this? Winning 4 games in a row, it's not like it hasn't happened before. Zhu Qian's eyes flew towards Zhuangbai, and gave him a look. That means telling him to go all out and not hold back. Keep your hands, I'll keep your ass. Zhuangbai cursed secretly in his heart. How could he hold back? In the first 3 games, they didn't even have a chance to fight. Game 4 was a bit better, but it wasn't that great. After 4 games, Lin Moyu didn't even move a single step. You big monster, I will fight with you. The 5th scene, the 7th level of Super God. It has surpassed Lin Moyu by a full 4 ranks. Although it is said that the stronger the strength, the greater the first order difference. At the level of gods and gods, 1 level difference may be an earth-shaking difference. But even in the Super God level, the gap reaches the 4th level, which is still very considerable. Normally speaking, the 7th level of Super God can easily complete the abuse of the 1st level of Super God. The countdown ends, the restrictions on the ring disappear, and the battle begins. 5 colors of light burst out from Zhuangbai's body again, and then the 5 colors of light fused together fiercely, turning into an octagonal shield made of gold. 8 huge golden shields surround his body, exuding a stronger aura than before. The moment Zhuangbai opened his defense, Lin Moyu also made a move. A skeleton god will come out in response. The skeleton god will now be more than 10 meters tall. With a huge sense of oppression, he has crossed 1,000 meters in just 1 step, and came to Zhuangbai. The bone-long sword in his hand was chopped off. The law of immortality roared, and the hundreds of meters of sword energy seemed to cut through the sky. Zhuangbai's face changed drastically, and he jumped up to avoid it. At this time, the clouds in the sky were churning, and a death dragon knight flew in the sky. Not the previous skeleton dragon, but a more powerful death dragon knight. The giant dragon spewed out its breath, covering most of the arena. Zhuangbai's octagonal shield creaked in the dragon's breath. The dragon's breath is stronger than that of the skeleton dragon just now. Even if Zhuangbai's strength has been raised to the 7th level, he still feels the pressure. How can it be so strong? Zhuangbai's face changed drastically. He let out a low drink, and the Bafang shield was strengthened by a few points, stabilizing the situation. At this time, the Death Dragon Knight launched a charge, and his huge body slammed into Zhuangbai's body like lightning. A roar sounded like a big bell, and Zhuangbai was forcibly knocked into the air. The skeleton god general swung his sword again. This time the speed of the sword was faster than before, and the sword light was shining brightly, firmly locking on Zhuangbai. Zhuangbai's expression changed drastically again. This summoned creature can actually perform spells. With 1 blow of destruction, the attack power of the skeleton god general itself can be exerted 10 times. With the sword energy approaching him, Zhuangbai couldn't dodge. He roared angrily to resist. Suddenly my head hurts. The skeleton god beat his soul fire. His eyes shone with terror. Soul bombing, continuously bombing the target's soul. Zhuangbai only felt that there were countless explosions in his soul, which made him dizzy and difficult to concentrate for a while. This thing can also attack souls. What the hell? This guy turned out to be a summoner, no wonder he was motionless. Zhuangbai's head became dizzy, it was difficult to concentrate, and it became difficult to think. Under the combined attack of the skeleton god general and the death dragon knight, the octagon shield was finally shattered. In the next second, the sword energy engulfed Zhuangbai, the dragon's breath descended, and the body turned into raging flames. 5th challenge victory. The 6th challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current accumulated rewards, 3,100 points. Lin Moyu took a deep breath. This time he chose to take the initiative, taking the first step, using the skeleton general and the death dragon knight to completely suppress Zhuangbai. He was caught off guard, and Zhuangbai's 7th level super god strength failed to show even half of it, so he was killed by himself. If Zhuangbai's reaction can be quicker, maybe it can be delayed for a while. After all, it is the 7th level of super god, not a kitten or puppy of the 2nd or 3rd level. Lin Moyu took a deep breath, quietly waiting for the next battle. After everyone outside the venue watched it, their eyes lit up. Finally, a boss couldn't help but say, I thought it would be a wonderful battle, but I didn't expect it to be a one-sided battle. I think it's more exciting this way. This little guy named Lin Moyu has a very precise grasp of the battle situation. These 2 summons are very strong. It seems that his spells are at least star level, and may even be multi-star spells. More than that, his soul is also very strong. Although he can't see the specific state, he is at least at the peak of the 2nd rank. In their eyes, although Lin Moyu was motionless, he only used 2 spells. But it is enough to analyze a lot of information. These are old monsters who have lived for an unknown number of years, and they have seen too many people and things one by one. Lin Moyu couldn't hear the discussion, but felt that there was something wrong with the eyes of these people. Staring at myself one by one, very uncomfortable. Especially the one that appeared last, which made him feel uncomfortable all over. Zhu Qian squinted his eyes, feeling overjoyed. The better Lin Moyu behaved, the happier he was. Lin Moyu is from his Vermilion Bird Starfield. If he can be accepted as a disciple by the City Lord, then the entire Pearl Star region will follow the light. As far as he knew, several other veterans from the Star Field were also looking for geniuses. He had looked for it before, but couldn't find the right one. The City Lord's vision is high, and ordinary geniuses will definitely not be able to do it. If you want geniuses, there are plenty of them in the City of God. Now that he has found Lin Moyu, he will never let him go. Lin Moyu couldn't bear Zhu Qian's gaze, and his whole body was trembling, and he couldn't help avoiding it. Jingjing Zhuangbi returns again. Sure enough, within 2 minutes, Zhuangbai's figure appeared on the opposite side. Zhuangbai's expression at this time was as ugly as if he had eaten an egg. He lost again. The strength of the 7th level super god can't beat a 3rd level super god. And still in front of so many big people, he was very depressed. It took him a minute to sum up the gains and losses, this time with the determination to win. The suppression of strength has been reduced by 033 to the 8th level of super god, and he doesn't believe that he will lose again. Seeing that Zhuangbai didn't say a word, Lin Moyu became very silent. I know this guy must be serious. It is estimated that several consecutive failures have already made him very uncomfortable. This time, it is estimated that he will explode with all his strength and will definitely kill himself. However, he is bound to win this game. If you win, you can get 3,200 points, and the total points for this task can reach 6,300 points. Coupled with the points obtained before, it is enough for him to raise his authority to the 3rd level. Lin Moyu remembered that when he was evaluating his potential, he was helpless in the face of the puppet of the 7th level super god. At that time, he was the 1st level of super god, and now he has reached the 3rd level of super god. Combat strength has been greatly improved. Facing the 8th level of super gods, he is fully capable of fighting with it. In that case, let's fight with all our strength. There are less than 30 seconds before the game starts. Zhuangbai suddenly said, this time, I will go all out. At the 8th level of super god, some of my spells can also be used. Lin Moyu nodded, I will also do my best. Zhuangbai frowned, you didn't use all your strength before. Lin Moyu shook his head, no. Hearing Lin Moyu's honest answer, Zhuangbai almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. It's all done like this, and it's not full strength. What are you trying to do? Zhuangbai no longer wants to talk to Lin Moyu. At the same time as the countdown ended, Zhuangbai burst out with brilliant light. The 8-direction shield surrounded the whole body, and the long sword in his hand turned into a rain of swords, densely falling towards Lin Moyu. At the same time, he had another spear in his hand. The breath on this long spear is stronger than that of a sharp sword. The gun is like lightning. Zhuangbai roared, and the spear turned into golden lightning and shot towards Lin Moyu. The spear turned into electricity, and Lian Jianyu turned into thunder and lightning, turning into countless thunderbolts, and struck towards Lin Moyu. Law of lightning. Lin Moyu recognized this law at a glance. It is the law of the element class, so there is nothing to be afraid of. However, this law seems to be a little different, stronger than the ordinary law of lightning. The eyes of several bigwigs in the stands showed satisfaction. It's the destroying thunder gun of the dealer of the Suzaku 10 galaxy. The little guy has used it very well. It's a pity that this law needs to be at the level of a true god to exert its full power. Driven by the strength of the 8th level super god, it is still a bit worse. Although it's worse, it's still good enough. I'm afraid it's unstoppable among the super gods. Zhuangbai was very confident in his spells, and after he shot out, he rushed towards Lin Moyu following the sky full of lightning. But the next moment, he stopped, his eyes full of disbelief. As far as he could see, it was full of skeletons. The skeleton god general and death dragon knight occupied the arena completely. The sky and the ground are full of skeletons, at least tens of thousands of them, surrounding Zhuangbai. Only then did Zhuangbai know that Lin Moyu was really honest, and he didn't talk too much. He really didn't use all his strength, he just used a skeleton general and a death dragon knight just now. It's not like now. His own thunder and lightning fell on the skeletons, causing them considerable damage. It can hurt them. A little hope rose in Zhuangbai's heart, but it was immediately ruthlessly extinguished. The body of the skeleton glistened, and all the injuries that had just been suffered were healed. Only then did he notice that there was some strange-looking summons beside Lin Moyu. They hold huge staffs and constantly cast spells to heal the wounds of the skeletons. The corners of Zhuangbai's mouth twitched. This is AF King complete set. Don't talk about killing Lin Moyu now, you can't even rush through. The skeletons moved slightly, blocking his sight. Now I can't even see it. In the next second, the skeletons began to attack. The overwhelming attack submerged the Zhuangbi. The people in the stands were shocked. Even with their knowledge, they had never seen such a scene. From this moment on, Lin Moyu's name is deeply rooted in their memory. There are really too many summons. What is the origin of this little guy? I have never seen it before. The information is hidden and cannot be seen. It seems that another great figure will appear in our human race. Everyone sighed, knowing that the overall situation had been settled. Zhuangbai is still desperately resisting. The combat power of the 8th level super god has indeed improved qualitatively compared to the 7th level super god. At the 7th level of super god, 1 skeleton god general and 1 death dragon knight are enough to kill Zhuangbai. But now, tens of thousands of skeleton gods and the Death Dragon Knights joined forces to launch an indiscriminate bombardment attack on it, and Zhuangbai could still hold on for a while, and even counterattacked. But that's all. After persisting for nearly 20 minutes, Zhuangbai was defeated in the end. Victory in the 6th challenge. The 7th challenge will start in 3 minutes, please wait a moment. Current accumulated rewards, 6,300 points. Lin Moyu clenched his fists excitedly when he saw the bonus points. 6,300 points, his overall score has been broken. After the task is over, the authority can be raised to the 3rd level. Super God level 3 authority, I'm afraid it will shock everyone's jaws. At that time, when I was a 1st level super god, I got a 2nd level authority, which has already made many people unable to understand. It is estimated that it will be the same now. In the next match, they will face Zhuangbai, who is the 9th level super god. The 9th level of super god is another leap compared to the 8th level. The key point is that this leap will exceed the attack limit of the undead army. Lin Moyu will have nothing to do with Zhuangbai. But at the same time, it would be very difficult for Zhuangbai to deal with himself. A super god level attack can be completely ignored. Then grind it. Anyway, I won't admit defeat. The challenge has no time limit until one side loses. This is different from potential evaluation. And when Zhuangbai's power is exhausted, he has the advantage in this regard. Lin Moyu intends to fight a war of attrition with Zhuangbai, and has been exhausting all of Zhuangbai's power. Zhu Tian saw Lin Moyu's performance in his eyes, and he was satisfied besides satisfaction. Lin Moyu has more advantages than he thought. At the same time, he could also see that Lin Moyu had almost reached his limit. It is estimated that the next game will be very difficult. Looking at this kid's eyes, he should already have an idea. I don't know how he will respond. Zhuangbai returned with the aura of a 9th level super god. This time, his face was even uglier than before. That look, I feel like eating people. The ups and downs of his chest were also extremely violent, which was enough to tell that Zhuangbai was in a very bad mood at this time. Lin Moyu was a little embarrassed. Anyone who failed would feel very uncomfortable. Senior Zhuang, are you okay? Zhuangbai snorted, tell me if I'm okay. Lin Moyu smiled slightly, Senior Zhuang, you should be more than a true god. How do you know? Zhuangbai showed a strange face. The two sides were separated by an unknown number of light years, and Lin Moyu could not see his own information in Renwang's network. Lin Moyu laughed, I guess. Lin Moyu really has an element of guessing in it, but more of a judgment. Zhuangbai said that he lives in star 10-1. There is a high-level galaxy, and the people in it are not weak. The super god level is nothing in it, and the true god can only be ordinary. Being able to live there, and being selected by the internet as a challenger. The strength itself will definitely not be weak. Coupled with Zhuangbai's age, Lin Moyu thinks that Zhuangbai is very likely to be a god king. If it is not a god king, it is at least a character like the 9th rank of the true god. But listening to Zhuangbai's current answer, his guess should be right. Lin Moyu bowed slightly to Zhuangbai, if I go to galaxy number 10 in the future, I will come to thank Senior Wang. Thank you. What is there to thank you for? Zhuangbai was even more puzzled. If it is an apology, he can still understand. Thank you for what? Lin Moyu replied, continuing the battle with Senior Zhuang. The junior has gained a lot and benefited a lot. Senior Zhuang let the junior understand where the limit of his combat power is, so that the junior will not be arrogant. So, this junior would like to thank Senior Zhuang. Lin Moyu speaks very sincerely, clearly and honestly, but also very humble. Zhuang Bai was unconsciously drawn in, and his mood suddenly improved a lot, and the depression of Lian Zhan's losing streak was swept away. It's okay to give advice to the younger generation, it should be. Zhuang is not like that surname Chu, he's not so ungrateful. Zhuang Bai patted his chest and said generously. Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief, this should be the last match. To be honest with Senior Zhuang, the junior's defense is very strong, and the true god basically cannot hurt the junior. So this time, Zhuang Bai was in a good mood after Lin Moyu's flicker. I can also see that junior brother Lin has almost reached his limit. This should be the last battle between you and me. Zhuang will not hold back, and will definitely go all out. Junior brother Lin doesn't have to talk to each other about juniors, I recognize you as a friend. Lin Moyu smiled slightly, thank you, senior brother Zhuang. I will go all out in this battle. If there is any disrespect, senior brother Zhuang, please don't take offense. Lin Moyu's goal has been achieved at this time. He didn't want to fight against Zhuang Bai, so he took a few words as a relief. If I am a little more humble, I won't suffer a loss, but I can also gain a friendship. Zhuang Bai is not a bad person, but after consecutive failures, his mood swings are a bit violent. It is better to have one more friend than one more enemy. There are some things that are not good for you, so there is no need to do them. At least Zhuang Bai was comforted by himself. Lin Moyu feels that although people in the big world live much more, they are not complicated. Among the people accepted so far, all of them are good people. The unity of the human race is not just talk, it is really done. This feeling made Lin Moyu feel very comfortable. The countdown ends and the battle begins again. The undead army composed of tens of thousands of skeleton god generals and death dragon knights once again surrounded the Zhuangbi for an unknown number of layers. Zhuang Bai, as he himself said, will go all out and will not let the water go. Zhuangbi 920 exerts the most powerful power in the super god class. Thunder roared on the arena, facing the massive army of undead. Zhuang Bai stopped attacking them in groups. Start to concentrate on breaking down one by one. The 9th level of Super God, 10% of the control of the law, the power of the law has suddenly risen to a higher level. It is much stronger than the 8th level of Super God. When the power was concentrated, a skeleton general was instantly killed. Zhuang Bai's face showed joy. If he can kill one, he can kill the second one. The law gathers growth spears in his hands, each blow carries terrifying power, and begins to sweep wildly. Lin Moyu watched quietly, and did not move extraneously. It was within his expectation that Zhuang Bai could kill the skeleton god general. How many can be killed? You must know that each skeleton god can be resurrected 5 times. If he summons the undead lich again, he can be resurrected 6 times. There are only 10,000 skeleton generals and death dragon knights on the stage. Compared with your own total amount, even a fraction is not a fraction. It would be enough for Zhuang Bai to kill him for several days and nights. You can also replenish yourself, and the speed of replenishment is not slow. Lin Moyu has been invincible since the beginning of the battle. That's why I said what I said before, so that Zhuang Bai didn't care. This match will be very tormenting. After Zhuang Bai killed dozens of skeletons in a row, the big figures in the stands showed smiles on their faces. In this round, it seems that Zhuang Bai is going to win. Lin Moyu's skeleton is indeed very strong, but after all, his strength is limited. The difference between the 3rd level and the 9th level of Super God is too big. That's true. No matter how powerful a technique is, there is a limit. It always depends on the level of strength of the user. The 3rd level of Super God, to be able to compete with the 9th level of Super God, is already a top genius. Lin Moyu is proud of it. It's more than a top genius. In my memory, there has never been such a person. Although now these big shots think that Lin Moyu is going to lose. But they still maintained a positive attitude towards Lin Moyu. Everyone admits that Lin Moyu is a top talent. Zhu Qian listened to their discussion with a trace of disdain in his eyes. A bunch of self-styled old guys have lived in vain for so many years. Will Lin Moyu lose this battle? As the domain master of the Vermilion Bird starfield, he not only lived a long time, but also saw too many people and things. He saw confidence in Lin Moyu's eyes. So he concluded that Lin Moyu will not lose this game. Although the current situation is not good, Lin Moyu obviously has great confidence in himself. That's the truth. Lin Moyu is impossible to lose. Those skeleton generals and Death Dragon Knights who seemed to have been killed were all put away by Lin Moyu. They were then replaced with new skeletons. After 3 minutes passed, the undead magic cooldown ended, and he had 5 resurrection opportunities again. ACBD, there is no need to summon new undead legions at all. It is impossible for Zhuangbi to kill all the existing ones. Zhuangbai seemed to be aware of this. He killed Xiao Banqian. There were also many skeletons. There are neither too many nor too few, and the corpses that were killed before are also gone. This made Zhuangbai feel wrong. Junior brother Lin, can you kill all the skeletons? Lin Moyu didn't hide it. It's not that they can't be killed, but that there are too many. Zhuangbai asked, tell me a number and make me give up. Lin Moyu said, 400,000. Zhuangbai shook the spear in his hand and almost threw it to the ground. 40 tens of thousands, he will kill until the year of the monkey. But with 400,000 yuan, as long as he persists, it is not impossible to kill. Just give up. Unwilling, he continued to ask, what about the ones I killed just now? Lin Moyu still didn't hide anything. Resurrected. Can it be resurrected? Yes, it can be revived. I quit. Zhuangbai roared angrily, and the whole person sat down suddenly, and stopped beating. The 8-sided shield formed by the 8-sided shield armor firmly protected him. From the soul to the body, they are all protected extremely tightly. No matter how the skeleton gods attack, it will be useless. And in this state, he consumes very little and can maintain it for a long time. No more beatings, no more beatings, I'm exhausted from the beatings. Zhuangbai shouted loudly. Lin Moyu had expected this situation a long time ago. Brother Zhuang, why don't we count as a tie? Zhuangbai said, of course it's a tie, since I can't beat you to death. It seems like you can't beat me to death either. Lin Moyu nodded, how can I do it? Zhuangbai waved his hand, leave it to me, I'm good at this. As he said that, he closed his eyes, as if he was communicating with Renwang Network. Half a minute later, a reminder came from the Prison Phoenix Network. Your challenger initiates a tie application, do you agree or not? Lin Moyu agreed without thinking about it. Now that this situation continues for a few days or even a few months, there will be no winner. After agreeing, new news popped up from Renwang Network. With the agreement of both parties, the 7th battle ended in a tie. Your continuous challenge mission ends here. Total rewards, 6,300 points. Your record in the Renwang arena will be saved. I hope you can always remain undefeated. You will leave in 1 minute. Welcome to Renwang arena again. Lin Moyu breathed a long sigh of relief, put away all the undead, and saluted to Zhuangbi to express his gratitude. Thank you, senior brother Zhuang, for your guidance. Zhuangbai waved his hand. Whether to give advice or not, junior brother Lin is a real genius. If you have free time in the future, you must come to Star Suzaku 10-1. I belong to the dealer, and you can find it by just asking. We'll definitely go. Leaving the human emperor arena. Looking at the crowds coming and going, Lin Moyu checked his information. Age, 28. Level, Super God Level 3. Soul, the pinnacle of the 3rd rank. Potential evaluation, Legend. Highest authority, Level 3. Comprehensive strength, 9th level of Super God. 18,068, 10850, 1. Laws of control, laws of death, laws of life. Human Emperor Arena, 7 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses, winning rate, 100%. Your own information has changed. Some information in Renwang Network has been updated, and all of my own improvements have been recorded by Renwang Network. Especially in the emergency mission to Star 105-3 before, I used the life side of the law of immortality on a large scale, and was recognized as the law of life by Renwang Network. Lin Moyu realizes that the Renwang Network also has its limitations. My own law of immortality was misrecognized, and my own talent was not recognized. At least in the Renwang Network, his all-round talent can't play a role. Because Renwang Network does not know it. Leaving Renwang Network and returning to the mission room. Lin Moyu thought about what he got this time, and at the same time checked some changes brought about by the 3rd level authority. In the starry sky, on a huge star, the boat of Lord Yufeng was docked there. Yifeng Shenjun was drinking tea on the boat, his eyes fell on the stars. On the stars, Gu Qingxuan was doing tasks. Yi Fengshen respects and loves his apprentice, although he can't do the task instead of her, he can guard her and ensure her safety. Suddenly he closed his eyes and looked forward. The space in front of him was distorted, and a space-time channel appeared. Zhu Qian stepped out of the time-space passage, and the next step was in front of Yifeng Shenjun. Yi Shenfengzhen slightly cupped his hands. Why is the domain master coming here when you are free? Zhu Qian laughed. I came to ask you for a cup of tea. Master Territory Master just joked. With your mouth, how can you think of this old man's stupidity? Before Yifeng Shenjun finished speaking, he had already set his sights on Zhu Qian's people. Zhu Qian held a transparent jade bottle in his hand, and in the jade bottle, 10 pieces of turquoise tea were lying quietly inside. Qingshan Enlightenment Tea. Yifeng Shenjun's voice trembled slightly. Zhu Qian laughed. That's right, I brought my own tea, do you want to drink it? It's a fool not to drink. With a wave of Yifeng Shenjun's hand, the mouth of the tea has a new look. Then Yifeng Shenjun carefully took out a jade gourd. The jade gourd was also transparent, filled with water, showing a faint green color with emerald luster. The secluded spring and clear water of the Soul Clan. I knew right away, you old guy must have hidden something good. Zhu Qian laughed loudly, as if I had seen through you a long time ago. Lord Yifeng laughed and said, I got some by chance, and I have been collecting them for thousands of years. I have been suffering from no tea that is worthy of it. Qingshan Wudao tea, secluded spring and clear water complement each other. Zhu Qian directly threw the tea leaves to Lord Yifeng. Yifeng Shenjun drives the flame with laws, first heats the tea set, and then pours the clear water of Yujing. The temperature of the clear water in Yukon is extremely low, braving the chill. If you don't use the fire of the law, you won't be able to boil it at all. After the Yifeng god Venerable boiled the water, he carefully took out a piece of Qingshan Enlightenment tea and put it in it. As soon as the two came into contact, an astonishing tea fragrance immediately permeated the starry sky. It seemed as if a huge tea tree had grown out of the starry sky, towering up to the sky and covering the sun, moon and stars, making it dazzling. Yifeng Shenjun had longing in his eyes. The Qingshan Enlightenment tree, the ancient sacred tree, it's a pity that I don't have the chance to get it. Zhu Qian laughed and said, why, you still want to grab the sacred tree with the city lord? Lord Yifeng immediately shook his head. I haven't lived enough yet. He said that he wanted to return the Qingshan Enlightenment tea to Zhu Qian, but his eyes were full of reluctance. Zhu Qian waved his hand. There's no need to pay it back, I'll give it to you. Ah. Yifeng Shenjun trembled. This is not good, it is so precious. That's the case, but in the next second, the Qingshan tea ceremony tea has been put away, and there is no intention of taking it out at all. Zhu Qian knew his old friend too well, so he didn't have any opinion. Ask you something. Yifeng Shenjun carefully poured tea for the two of them, for fear of spilling a drop. If you have anything to do with tea, ask slowly. Zhu Qian nodded. All right. He casually took a sip. Pairing the clear spring water with this Qingshan Enlightenment tea really makes a difference. Not only is it different, the clear water of the secluded spring can at least increase the effect of Qingshan Enlightenment tea by 30%. Yifeng Shenjun drank the hot tea in one gulp, trembled all over, and lowered his eyes. The whole person has entered a special state, and the law is rolling on his body. The god-level law roared in the starry sky. The nearby starry sky vibrated continuously, and the stars in the body and eyes were shaking violently, as if they were about to collapse at any time. 0. Ask for flowers. Zhu Qian waved a law, quickly stabilized the starry sky. He naturally knew that Yifeng Shenjun had entered a state of epiphany because of the relationship between enlightenment and tea. This moment is very important to him, so naturally Zhu Qian will not disturb him. This is almost always the case when drinking enlightenment tea for the first time, and he used to be no exception. It's just that I drink a lot now and get used to it, so the effect will weaken. Zhu Qian sipped his tea slowly, not in a hurry. A beautiful figure flew from under the stars and entered the flying boat. Just as Gu Qingxuan was about to speak, Zhu Qian's voice came from beside her ear. Shut up, don't disturb your master. When Gu Qingxuan saw Zhu Qian, and then looked at Yifeng Shenjun's appearance, he probably had a guess. She bowed to Zhu Qian. Qingxuan has met Lord Territory Master. Zhu Qian hummed. Originally I had something to ask your master, and now I'm asking you the same thing. You are Lin Moyu's guide, right? Gu Qingxuan nodded. That's right, it was indeed Qingxuan and Master who brought junior brother Lin over that day. Zhu Qian asked, tell me all the information about Lin Moyu, the more detailed the better. Facing Zhu Qian's inquiry, Gu Qingxuan didn't dare to hide anything, and immediately explained the whole process in detail. From her first encounter with Lin Moyu, to her subsequent introduction, taking Lin Moyu to conduct a potential assessment, and the evaluation of Lin Moyu by Yifeng Shenjun. Gu Qingxuan spoke very carefully, and Zhu Qian also listened very carefully. So, the small world that Lin Moyu was born in is a bit weird. Gu Qingxuan nodded. It's a bit weird, Master should know something, but he didn't tell me. The Master asked me to go to the small world to get a world core, but I told you, it doesn't matter whether I can get it or not. I entered the small world, but I didn't really enter the small world. Entered the small world, but did not really enter the small world. This statement made Zhu Qian a little curious. But that's all Gu Qingxuan knew, and he might have to ask Lord Yifeng for details. However, judging from all the performances of Lin Moyu after he came to the big world, he is indeed a genius with an extremely calm mind. Gu Qingxuan asked cautiously, did something happen to junior brother Lin? Zhu Qian shook his head. It's okay, he's fine. Your master is about to wake up. I will have a chat with your master. You can make tea for us. Gu Qingxuan was flattered and hurriedly nodded in agreement. Yifeng Shenjun's breath trembled violently, and he woke up from enlightenment. Old guy, how do you feel? Zhu Qian had a smile on his face. He was naturally aware of the effect of Qingshan enlightenment tea. Yifeng Shenjun's eyes gradually became clear. It is better than the old man's hard work for 100 years. It took only 10 minutes before and after enlightenment, but it can beat Yifeng Shenjun's hard work for 100 years. The effect of this tea is really amazing. Zhu Qian smiled. Only the first cup is useful, but the effect will become worse and worse later on. Yifeng Shenjun snorted. You are a full man who doesn't understand a hungry man, so tell me, what can you do with me? Zhu Qian smiled. I already know most of the things from Qingxuan, but there are still some questions. Yifeng Shenjun readily agreed. For the sake of Qingshan enlightenment tea, I will tell you everything I know. With a smile, Zhu Qian said, something about the little world where Lin Moyu was born. Yifeng Shenjun's face changed suddenly. Seeing this, Zhu Qian realized that something was wrong. Yifeng Shenjun's face changed several times, and he said lightly, Qingxuan, pour tea. Gu Qingxuan immediately poured tea for the two obediently. Then Yifeng Shenjun tapped the table lightly, and a law spread out lightly, wrapping him and Zhu Qian. What the two of them said would not be heard by anyone, not even Gu Qingxuan who was close at hand. Zhu Qian realized the seriousness of the matter, and his expression also became dignified. For Yi Shenfengzhen to treat him so seriously, this matter is probably no small matter. Yifeng Shenjun gently squeezed the teacup, but the voice was completely different from his hand, a little sleepy. Do you know that about 4,000 years ago, a person from a small world came out? There was a little daze in Zhu Qian's eyes. Zhu Qian was vast, and there were countless small worlds. People from the small worlds came out every day. How could he remember? But what can be brought up by Yifeng Shenjun must not be an ordinary phenomenon. Zhu Qian suddenly thought of something. You mean, that time? Yifeng Shenjun nodded. That's right, at that time almost all the people in the small world came out and entered the big world. Logically speaking, when all living beings were gone, the small world would either break out of its shell, accept the baptism of the big world, and turn into stars. Become a galaxy. Or fall into dead silence, and the fetus rises in the womb. Creatures are the foundation of a small world. Once the creatures in it disappear, whether they run away from home or die, this small world will face two endings. Or just break out of the cocoon and integrate into the big world. However, it is hard to say what the small world without living creatures will become after it is integrated into the big world. Or it will lose its vitality and be born in the womb without even a chance to break out of the cocoon. Zhu Qian had heard about that incident before. All the creatures in that small world came out, almost none left. But for people at his level, this kind of thing is just a trivial thing, and he didn't continue to pay attention to it afterwards. God Venerable Yifeng said, this small world has undergone a third change. It has neither emerged from its cocoon nor been aborted, but has reborn a second wave of life. Zhu Qian frowned. How could this happen? This kind of development is completely different from what he knows, and it is contrary to the rules of the big world. Yifeng Shenjun said, when those people came out, they forcibly took away the imprint of the true spirit in the origin of the small world. This action seriously damaged the foundation of the small world. The small world of the world, all the creatures are gone, and they should be stillborn. Quote, but it happened to give birth to the second wave of life again, is it strange to you? Unless. Zhu Qian thought of a possibility and couldn't help shivering. Yifeng Shenjun looked at Zhu Qian's surprised look. You guessed it right, an invincible and strong man made a move. Hiss tilde. Zhu Qian gasped, invincible and strong will not make a move easily, for the sake of this small world, what about it? Yi Shenjun said, I have also done some research on this matter. In this small world, there are 10 things. A thing? What is it? Zhu Qian asked hastily. Things that can be used by an invincible strong man are definitely not ordinary things, they should be very important. Yifeng Shenjun didn't answer directly, and continued to talk to himself. Later, I discovered another thing. There was more than one invincible strong man involved in this matter. There are at least 3, and there may be more. After knowing this, I don't dare to continue the investigation. I am afraid that if I continue to investigate, I will offend the invincible and strong and bring about the disaster of killing myself. Zhu Qian's hand holding the teacup trembled slightly. Invincible powerhouse, what kind of existence is that? Even he can only look up to 0. Why a small world attracts so many invincible experts is puzzling. It's no wonder that Yifeng Shenjun didn't dare to continue the investigation, and he wouldn't dare either. Yifeng Shenjun looked at Zhu Qian's expression and smiled slightly. I stopped investigating, and I also dare not continue to peek at that small world. I can only take a look occasionally. About 2,000 years ago, I discovered something interesting. The Desolate Beast race and the Zerg race all sent people into that small world. Later, the Demon race, a branch of the Elemental Dragon in the Dragon race, and the Blood race also entered. In addition, there is a giant tree in the starry sky, and it seems that it has also got a split soul and probed in. Zhu Qian wondered, how could they get in? Yifeng Shenjun laughed, it seems that you are really old, and you have forgotten what I just told you. 4,000 years ago, after the wave of people left the small world, they took away the imprint of the true spirit and severely damaged the small world. Origin. Furthermore, their forcible departure opened up some incomplete space-time passages between the small world and the big world. It also gave those guys a chance. Under Yifeng Shenjun's narration, Zhu Qian finally understood. He knew why the old guy in front of him went to pick up Lin Moyu. It wasn't Gu Qingxuan who asked him to go, but he wanted to go. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the dignified god to personally pick up a little guy who just came out of the small world. Zhu Qian said in a deep voice, from this point of view, Lin Moyu has already been under the sight of the invincible powerhouse. Yifeng Shenjun shook his head. What level of existence are they? How could they care about a little guy? Although Lin Moyu is very talented, he probably doesn't catch their eyes. But you, why did you suddenly come to ask me Lin Moyu? About Moyu. Zhu Qian said, Lin Moyu's talent may exceed your imagination, and I plan to recommend him to Santo. This time Yifeng Shenjun was startled. You want Lin Moyu to be the disciple of the city lord? Zhu Qian nodded, he really thought so. Lord Yifeng thought for a moment, you can give it a try. The fact that the Lord of Shencheng wants to recruit disciples is not a secret among the high-level people of the human race. Many people are looking for geniuses and want to recommend them to the city lord. Lin Moyu was born in a small world with a clean background and excellent talent, so he is indeed a good candidate. But whether it will be successful in the end depends on his own good fortune. Zhu Qian got all the information about Lin Moyu from Yifeng Shenjun. Then he came to the small world where Lin Moyu was born, and took a look from a distance. Outside the small world, he saw strong men from all races. There are demons, blood clans, and shadow clans. The area of this small world is already on the border of the human territory. Is a disputed area, not entirely belong to the human race. Behind these races, it seems that there are invincible powerhouses standing. This small world seems to have become a plaything in the hands of an invincible powerhouse. Is it really for a treasure? Zhu Qian had doubts in his heart, but he knew that it was not a level he could probe into. He didn't dare to stay for long, just took a look from a distance and left. On the flying boat of Lord Yifeng, after Zhu Qian left, Lord Yifeng said to Gu Qingxuan, Qingxuan, drink tea. Gu Qingxuan didn't feel unhappy because of what happened just now, and sat obediently in front of Yifeng Shenjun. She is very clear that some things are beyond her reach. So she didn't ask a word. Master, what kind of tea is this? Why did you only put a piece of tea leaves, and you also used the clear water from the secluded spring? Gu Qingxuan was very curious about just now. This piece of tea must be extremely precious, otherwise Yi Shenjun would not have brought out the clear spring water that had been treasured for many years. Yifeng Shenjun said, "This is Qingshan Enlightenment tea." Gu Qingxuan exclaimed, "Is it the Qingshan Enlightenment tea with thousand-year-old leaves made by the legendary Qingshan divine tree?" Yifeng Shenjun nodded, "That's right, that old fellow Zhu Tian paid a lot of money this time. Drink it, it's time for you to break through to the true God." Enlightenment tea can help people understand the Tao, and it is of great benefit to Gu Qingxuan's cultivation. She was originally stuck at the peak of the super god, and she was only one step away from becoming a true god. This cup of tea will definitely break through. After Gu Qingxuan finished drinking, she entered the state of enlightenment almost instantly. After a few breaths, the law surged on her body, and she had already broken through to the true god. Yifeng Shenjun was very satisfied, and his eyes fell on the distant starry sky. "Lin Moyu, you are indeed an interesting little guy." Lin Moyu's authority has been raised to level 3. The third level authority has changed a lot for the second level authority. The first is that the active area has become larger. The activity range of the second level authority is a spherical area with a diameter of 20 light years. This range is calculated with the life star registered by Lin Moyu as the center point. With the third level authority, the range of activities has become a spherical area with a diameter of 200 light years. The diameter has been expanded by 10 times, and the range of activities has been expanded by hundreds of times. Within a diameter of 200 light years, there are at least dozens of living galaxies and thousands of non-living galaxies. At the same time, the third level authority can take over the responsibility of the third level authority. The reward points for the third level tasks are more. Similarly, the requirements are also higher, and the difficulty becomes correspondingly greater. Generally speaking, level 3 authority is the level that can only be reached by level 6 super gods. Most cultivators, from the 6th level of the super god to the 3rd level of the true god, have the 3rd level of authority. Lin Moyu left the mission room and saw Ren Qiang waiting at the door as soon as he opened the door. Ren Qiang was obviously waiting for Lin Moyu, and when he saw him, he exaggeratedly shouted, "You finally came out." Lin Moyu was amused by his exaggerated expression, and couldn't help showing a smile. "What's wrong?" Ren Qiang glanced left and right, then pulled Lin Moyu and walked outside. Leaving the mission center, Ren Qiang found a secluded place. "Hey, do you know what you did?" Lin Moyu felt strange. "I didn't do anything, I just did a ring task." Ren Qiang lowered his voice. "Do you know that I have won 20 games in a row? The 7th match should be a tie." Ren Qiang whispered, "Whether it's 7 games or 6 games, you've won 7 games anyway, and you haven't lost yet, right?" Lin Moyu nodded, "Indeed." Ren Qiang said, "I didn't expect you to win consecutively, so I didn't tell you." Continuous challenge missions have another function, and that is to select geniuses who are good at fighting. If you can win 4 games in a row, that is, if you can defeat an opponent who is higher than your 3rd rank, you will belong to this type of genius. Afterwards, a lot of people came over, you see. After Ren Qiang's explanation, Lin Moyu finally understood why he had such a reaction. The people who came behind all looked quite young, and some even had gray hair. It turns out that these people are all great people. Basically, they are the star masters of a certain galaxy. Even if it is not a god, it is also the peak of the god king. Especially the one who appeared last turned out to be the domain master of the Suzaku star domain. This kind of person actually came to watch him fight. It's no wonder that Zhuangbai didn't talk much later. It's normal when he thinks about it. He didn't dare to speak out when he was watched by so many big shots. Ren Qiang murmured, "Junior brother Lin, I estimate that you have already fallen into the eyes of those big guys. One day you will be developed, don't forget me brother." Lin Moyu looked at Ren Qiang strangely. "The big world, don't everyone speak according to their strength?" Ren Qiang patted his thigh. "It's true to say so, but sometimes, there must be some relationship. For example, I want a certain material, and this material can only be obtained with level 4 authority. People who don't care can only take your time, and those who are related to Toto can get it if you pay a little price." It turned out that this was the case. Lin Yu lost control of his speech. He also thought that the starry sky is vast, and the distance is far away, and some people's sophistication will become rare. Everything speaks with strength. The rules of the big world seem to be the same. Unexpectedly, there are still human feelings. In this way, it is no different from Small World. After all, they are all human races, which is normal. Seeing Ren Qiang's eager eyes, Lin Moyu naturally would not refuse. It really is a brother, wait. Ren Qiang's excitement had not yet passed, and he suddenly froze there, motionless. His teeth were chattering, making a crisp clicking sound, his pupils were dilated, and his eyes were as wide as copper plates. Following his gaze, Lin Moyu saw Zhu Qian. The domain master of the Suzaku star field actually came here in person. Low-level life galaxies, for people at the level of domain masters, are poor places where birds don't shit, and they don't need anything. Ren Qiang, who was usually good at talking, became stuttering at this time. You, Master you. Zhu Qian glanced at him indifferently. You leave first. Follow, obey. Ren Qiang didn't dare to let out a fart, he just dodged and disappeared in an instant. Zhu Qian looked at Lin Moyu, his whole body exuded a touch of coercion, as if lightning flashed across his eyes. Aren't you afraid of me? Lin Moyu shook his head. I didn't do anything wrong, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Zhu Qian nodded. Let's chat. Lin Moyu hummed. All you need to do is follow the orders of Lord Territory Master. With a wave of Zhu Qian's hand, the two disappeared from the life star.